There's a tornado right there. Guys, everybody go.
The wind started howling and you could hear the roar coming.
The sky does not warn you politely. One moment, the street is quiet. The next, sirens scream, windows shake, and families run for shelter. But when the wind finally passes, the real fight for survival is only just starting. Across the middle of America, people grow up watching the sky. They know when the air feels heavy. They know when the clouds hang too low. They know the strange silence that can fall over a neighborhood before the wind turns violent. This is Tornado Alley. It stretches across parts of Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri, and nearby states. Warm, wet air from the Gulf of Mexico can crash into colder, drier air from the north and west. When those forces meet, a normal storm can become something far more dangerous. For families here, tornadoes are not just weather reports, they are part of life. Children learn where to hide. Parents keep shoes, flashlights, water, medicine, and important papers ready. Some families use basements or storm shelters. Others rely on a bathroom, hallway, or closet with no windows. At first, the day still looks ordinary. A child rides a bike. A neighbor cuts the grass. Nothing says disaster is coming. Then a phone buzzes. A weather radio cuts through the room. A forecaster points to a red shape on the radar and says the warning is moving closer. Outside, the sky darkens. The clouds sink low. The wind may stop for a few seconds, making the street feel frozen. Then it returns harder. That is when people stop hoping the storm will miss them and start moving. Parents call for their children. Someone grabs the dog. Someone pulls on shoes because after a tornado, the ground can be covered with glass and broken wood. There is no time to act calm. In Tornado Alley, a few minutes can decide everything. Inside one home, a family squeezes into a small bathroom. The lights flicker. A mother holds her child close. A father keeps one hand on the door and one hand on his phone. The child asks if the house will be okay. No one can promise that. Then the sound arrives. People often compare it to a train, but that still does not fully explain it. It is deeper than normal wind. It fills the walls, the floor, and the body. Windows and doors shake. Outside, the tornado tears through the neighborhood. Tree branches snap. Roofs lift. Cars slide or flip. Pieces of homes are thrown into yards, roads, and fields. Inside the shelter, nobody sees all of this. That is part of the fear. They can only listen. They hear crashes. They hear glass break. They hear things hitting the house. Every second feels too long. They do not know if the roof is still there. They do not know if the neighbor's house is standing. Then, almost suddenly, the roar begins to fade. The wind weakens, the shaking slows. The sirens may still sound in the distance, but inside the house, a new silence arrives. Not peace, shock. Someone opens the door slowly. Dust hangs in the air. Rain blows through a broken window. The hallway looks different. A room that felt safe minutes ago now feels exposed. Outside, the street is almost unrecognizable. A tree lies across the road. Power lines hang low. A car sits where no car should be. Toys, clothes, metal, and wood are scattered across yards. A family steps out and sees that the place they knew has changed in minutes. Across the street, someone calls for help. That is when the second part of survival begins. The first minutes after a tornado are full of confusion. People move fast, but their minds are still trying to understand what they are seeing. A road is blocked. A house that once held dinner and family photos is now torn apart. Some people search for loved ones, some check on elderly neighbors. Some climb over debris to reach a voice. Others stand still, holding a child or pet, unable to speak. Emergency crews arrive as quickly as they can. Firefighters search homes. Police close dangerous roads. Medics treat the injured. Utility workers watch for fallen wires and broken gas lines. But in many towns, the first rescuers are neighbors. A man with a pickup truck starts clearing branches. A woman whose home survived gives out water. A teenager carries blankets. Someone walks door to door calling out names. In Tornado Alley, people know the storm does not care who you are. So after it passes, they care for each other. Still, the losses are not simple. A tornado does not only take walls and roofs, it can take the small things that hold a life together. A wedding album, a child's bedroom, old letters, a favorite chair, a graduation photo, or a small business built over 20 years. To someone far away, the damage may look like broken wood. To the people who live there, every piece means something. The hardest part is that the work begins while the grief is still fresh. There are insurance calls to make, temporary places to sleep, clothes to replace, medicine to find, children to comfort. A family can feel thankful to be alive and still feel crushed by what they lost. Both can be true. Life after the storm is not one big heroic moment. It is many small, hard moments stacked together. It is waking up somewhere else and remembering your house is gone. It is driving back to your street and missing the way it used to look. It is finding one muddy photograph and cleaning it because it is one of few things left. But this is also where the strength of Tornado Alley shows itself. After a major tornado, help often comes from everywhere. Churches become shelters. Schools become donation centers. Restaurants give meals. People bring water, clothes, pet food, tools, chargers, and diapers. Volunteers drive in because their town could be next one day. Some people bring heavy equipment, some bring sandwiches. Some bring nothing but time and strong hands. Slowly, order begins to return. Debris gets moved, roads reopen, power comes back. Children return to class, even if the classroom is temporary. Neighbors talk about what can be saved and what must be rebuilt. Rebuilding is slow. First comes cleanup, then inspections, then insurance claims, then permits, then repairs, then decisions no family wants to make. Do we rebuild here? Do we move away? Can we afford to start over? Some families stay because this is home. Others leave because the fear becomes too heavy. Every dark cloud brings back the sound. Every siren makes the body tense. A child who once loved storms may now hide when thunder begins. An adult may keep emergency bags packed forever. This is the part people do not always see. The storm ends in minutes, but the mind may keep returning to it. So life after the storm is not only about rebuilding walls. It is about feeling safe again. Safe in a quiet morning. Safe inside a home. Safe under a sky that once turned against you. And yet people in Tornado Alley keep going. They learn, they prepare, they teach their children what to do. They keep shoes near the shelter. They charge their phones when storms are coming. They store water, flashlights, medicine, and important documents. Preparation cannot stop a tornado. But it can save minutes. And minutes can save lives. The lesson of Tornado Alley is not that people are stronger than nature. Nobody who has heard that roar believes that. The lesson is that people can be ready. They can listen. They can move fast. They can protect the people beside them. And when the wind has done its worst, they can begin again. Pick up the photo, call the neighbor, clear the road, hold the child, start again. Tornado Alley is a place of risk, but also a place of courage. After every tornado, there are broken homes. But there are also open doors. There is fear, but there is also kindness. There is loss, but there is also rebuilding. Because survival is not just making it through the storm. It is finding the strength to stand up after it passes. Subscribe for more powerful stories like this and watch the next video.